Yeah, I mean, this is Friday. Our primary election is March 17th, which is Tuesday. So we're a few days away from the primary. Of course, early voting started about 2 weeks ago. But right now, what we're seeing is the impact of the corona pandemic that is occurring, that's impacting every institution, impacting every day of life, and it's impacting voting as well. You know, there's still conversations to talk about possibly pushing back the election. Believe Louisiana just did that. But right now we're still mobilizing. Our events have been canceled just to play it safe. You know, we don't want to present opportunities or activities that could possibly expose people unnecessarily to the virus. So we had Nina Turner, she was flying in. She was going to meet with us on the west side of Chicago. Many activists and fighters within the west side to talk about the black vote and just how to mobilize. So of course that was canceled. We had a group fundraising event with Jabari Bridgeport out of New York. Shout out to Jabari. Wonderful socialist activists out there fighting and running for office that had to be canceled as well. So right now we're in a little bit of hiatus. I still voted today. You know, I have my sticker. I was proud to vote for Bernie Sanders. This election is bigger than one person, but I want to truly thank Bernie, you know, for the role that he continues to play in this movement. He inspired, a scrappy young man like myself who used to find himself getting in trouble to run for office. You know, so I was proud to vote for Bernie and myself today. So this is where we are right now. You know, we're just chilling. We're at a bar. A few of my coworkers. I'm a teacher. You know, our school just got canceled, so we're not going back to work right now currently. And just having a drink, eating, while we just figure things out, work with the team to figure out our online strategy, our digital outreach, as well as we have a fundraiser that we created to help families and students in need while the hiatus occurs, because with students being off, clearly that's going to impact working class families and parents that may have to take off of work, which impacts their ability to, of course, pay bills, purchase food and groceries. So while we push for a stimulus package to help working class citizens, we also have launched this fundraiser to immediately help those in need on the ground.
And I saw that the Bernie Sanders is broadcasting his own thoughts on the ongoing developing story of the corona epidemic, or pandemic I should say, and he's sort of weaving in some of the things that he's been saying for decades,
right,
in regards to how vulnerable people are.
Right.
Do you think that this moment could be an opportunity for us to explore those ideas in a way that we've never done before?
Yeah, I mean, no question. It was interesting. Somebody made a tweet, I should say, and I forget who it was, but they stated that everybody's a socialist when the pandemic hits. And I think that's extremely apropos. Things that Bernie has been fighting for, ideologies that he's been fighting for decades and decades, in regards to like Medicare for All, for example. How important would Medicare for All be right now with this pandemic hitting, to where we have other countries, other areas to where our current president calls shithole areas, areas that are beneath us, but yet they're far more advanced and able to take care of their citizens as this pandemic hits. We don't have enough tests. I have a former student right now who's in quarantine and stuck in Louisiana waiting on a test because we don't have enough for our citizens. So no question. We see the interconnected issues that are being further exposed by the coronavirus pandemic that has hit, whether it be in regards to Medicare for All, whether it be in regards to livable wage, whether it be paid family leave, so on and so forth. Housing as a human right, because how are homeless individuals going to be impacted by this pandemic? That's a huge issue that exists across the board. Food deserts. Individuals have to go grocery shopping, possibly if they have to stay and remain in the house. So now they're going to have to go outside of their community. That's transportation issues that exist. So everything is interconnected, and I think this pandemic further exposes that, and the things that Bernie has been fighting for. Clearly, he's been on the right side of history for a long time.
It really seems that like people are willing to take swift action when it's necessary. Mm-hmm. You're starting to see institutions, whether it's the National Basketball Association or schools shutting down, or the people are making drastic, radical measures in response to something that is quite serious. And we know from all the scientists around the world that the people that are most at risk for this is the elderly. Mm-hmm. It's people over 65. Mm-hmm. Is it encouraging to see the young people support and want to preserve those vulnerable older people?
Yeah, I mean, this is an intersectional movement, and I think what's interesting to see is if you look at the data and disaggregate it, people that are voting for, say, Joe Biden are older, right? But these are the individuals that are being directly impacted by the pandemic. And, you know, Joe Biden's the individual who stated that he's going to veto Medicare for all if it comes across his table. But yet and still, our younger voters who are skewing to Bernie, who are supporting the progressive movement, are still fighting for and are still there for our older citizens, because it's extremely important within this intersectional movement that we fight for all humanity, whether they are voting against themselves and their own self-interest or not. So yes, it's encouraging to see, but what I'm challenging the community to understand is we have to stop being reactive, because if we had been proactive prior to this pandemic hitting, we wouldn't necessarily be in the situation right now to where we're scrambling, to where we have to build strong coalitions, you know, at a short-term basis. That's why it's so important that we be proactive, that we push for these systemic changes, we push for the empowerment of the working class, so that way we'll never find ourselves in this type of position again.
Do you have any sort of words for those elders who maybe there seems to be a disconnect? They don't seem to either believe that the younger generation are as desperate as they are in regards to climate change and our future. Is there anything that you would say to that age group?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're not a monolith, you know, so, but for me, you know, I think each and every voter, no matter your generation, has to understand we've gotten to the place we've gotten because of progress. But what used to be a middle class for our boomer generation and older doesn't exist anymore. What used to be affordable college to where you could graduate, obtain a job in manufacturing, in a manufacturing industry, buy a house with a white picket fence and a dog, doesn't exist anymore. So times have changed, and they haven't changed in a good way. The economic wealth gap continues to increase. So I just challenge older voters to understand to why you may have had a comfortable life, why you may have been able to be middle class and achieve your goals and aspirations. Your children and your children's children continue to struggle. We're not able to buy homes. We have roommates, so we're staying with our parents. We're not able to graduate from college because it's unaffordable. We're not able to remain healthy because that is unaffordable. So tap into that and recognize you got to where you are because of progress. And if you truly want the future generations to get to where they need to be, we need to continue to push for progress. I know change is not easy, change is uncomfortable, but without change, our grandchildren and our grandchildren's grandchildren will continue to struggle.